We made a fencing mistake that actually resulted in the death of one of our goats, and today we're going to talk about it so that you don't make the same mistake that I did. So goat kids present a unique challenge. They are curious and rambunctious, and they generally don't like to follow the rules. They have to learn the rules, and they're small, especially for boar goats. The kids are much smaller than the adults. So what you can see behind me is two different sizes of Starkline electric netting. I'm not sponsored by Starkline, but that's the netting I use, so that's the netting we're going to talk about. Hold on, it's warming up. I need to take this off. So obviously this kid, who's a pretty good size, she's out of the fence right now, and how she got out is that netting right there is sheep and goat netting, and you can see the gaps are much larger than that netting right there, which is poultry netting. We started with poultry netting because they were just a week old when we got them, and I was really worried about them getting out, and then they started to grow, so I was like, oh, I'll get the sheep and goat netting, because obviously less material, more material. The sheep and goat netting is cheaper than the poultry netting. So she actually had a sister, and her sister got out and got onto some very lush green grass, like first thing in the morning. And I wasn't really worried about it because they're still kids. Like, even if they get out of the fence, they're gonna stay close to their mom. And so then they'll just pop back in, if they're looking for their mom or something like that. So when I would see her, I would get down there and I would go put her back in. But I wouldn't really rush to go do it because it didn't seem like an emergency to me. So she got out, she got onto some lush green grass, and I guess she got out onto that grass before she had got any hay in her belly. And what that led to was bloat. And I could tell that she had bloat because on the left side of her belly, where her rumen is, it was very high, it was very tight like a drum, and it was distended. So I knew kind of right away that it was bloat. So what I did was I made a drench of baking soda and water and fed it to her through like a large syringe, like a big plastic syringe. And then she started to burp a little bit when I would like massage her belly, which was a good sign, but the burps were frothy. And what that meant was that there was froth or fermentation from her belly trying to digest that green grass. It was starting to ferment in her belly, and the froth was preventing gas from escaping, which was causing the bloat. And so I tried to drench her, same method, but with vegetable oil to help break up some of that foam. And unfortunately, it was just too little too late. And what I needed was a tool, which I'll link in the description, basically allows you to puncture their rumen and let the gas out that way. And I did not have that. And by the time, it got so bad that I realized I needed it, the stores were closed. Like, there was just no way for me to get it. And so I brought her inside and kept trying to massage her belly and help her burp. And she seemed to be doing well, better at least. And then she just kind of gave up. And she stopped breathing. But her heart was still beating. So I tried to do some like CPR to get her breathing again. And there was just nothing that I could do for her, unfortunately. And so we lost a goat that way. And now I know it was a really, really hard lesson. But I know now I have the proper tools I need to help relieve bloat if another goat does get bloat. And the reason why it didn't happen to her is because she wasn't leaving the fence. Okay? She would stay with her mom, but the other one would leave. And now, as you can see, she is starting to leave the fence. So what'll be really important is for me to keep a very close eye on her until she gets big enough that she can't get out. And then, I've got the tools on hand to address it if I need to. But God forbid, I just don't want her to get the bloat. I don't want to lose another baby goat because they're just so precious. And it always feels bad. Like, there's something different about if you're raising an animal and you send them off to get sold for meat or whatever the case may be. Like, every animal's life is going to come to an end at some point. Like, we know that, okay? But something about like losing an animal, especially a baby animal, that was in your care over something that is preventable it just feels a lot different than if, you know, you were to sell that animal that you know is going to go be harvested for meat. Like it's not the same feeling. And losing an animal is a part of having livestock. It's our first loss. Like I've never lost a chicken, knock on wood. Like my bees are fine. Like I've never lost an animal before. I lost baby Jolene, and yeah, I hate it. But you know, it taught me a really good lesson that hopefully I can use to be a better steward of my livestock and not lose any more animals. So don't be like me. Get the proper fencing for the size goats that you have. Don't just wait for the problems to resolve themselves, and make sure that you have all of the medical equipment that you need on hand, because when things go wrong, you might not be able to run to Tractor Supply. So we're gonna put her back in the fence, but like and subscribe, and we're gonna be back with a lot more videos on how I run my farm. Thanks for watching.